Well, hello, that's me again. Today is October 2, 2024. It's the day after I made the previous video, and you probably know by now why it is. And the title of the video, which is Ramifications, of course, is that's the only way you can title it, because what we saw, yet another step, so to speak, in the remaking of the world order, and the departure of the West from its position of power. You may say, oh, what about Israel? Israel on its own, without United States, is nothing really, economically and technologically. And let's start with the things of which, of course, there's a lot of butthurt, there's a lot of sore losers. But we will start, of course, with this guy who won't, and I will explain why he doesn't have even basic tools to understand what he's talking about. Mr. Jake Sullivan, yeah, this boy actually has the degree in law. He's a lawyer, and he, for some reason, is a, the national security advisor. I don't know how he can do that, but obviously the whole Biden administration screwed up things so badly. But so he says that, yeah, yesterday the advisor, national security advisor Sullivan says Iran attack on Israel was defeated and ineffective. Yeah, it takes the Biden administration to basically lie, to your face when the whole world saw what they needed to see. As, the good old proverb goes, that it's better to see once than hear about it 7 times. And so we have to sort of speak about why it is so important. Not that the fact that, as very interestingly was stated by, which is really a wonderful statement actually, if you think about it, from Iranians, when they stated that we carried this horrible burden of restraint. That tells you everything, that they were ready, and technologically they are capable of wiping the Israel, God forbid, from the basically, just damage it beyond repair. And that, as people were saying, the initial assessment of the salvo by Iran was something between, like they said, 200 and between 200 and 500 missiles. Well, Iranians say that they launched 109. So I tend to believe them. But let's start with the fact why it really matters that much. So as you can see yourself, Wall Street Journal yesterday, oh my God, how Israel air defense systems and the Iron Dome works. First, you have to understand and explain to this average Western journal, who are imbeciles pretty much, well, uneducated creeps basically, that Iron Dome has nothing to do with the issue of the missiles which have been launched by Iran. And those missiles, those ballistic missiles, obviously are of the intermediate range. And they are, well, beyond the capabilities of the Iron Dome. Iron Dome is, it's like treating the cancer, 4-stage cancer, with a Band-Aid. Exactly. So you need, and that's what Israel has, all those, David slings, Arrow 2 and Arrow 3, known as HATS missiles. So let me explain why also there is so much butthurt in the United States and people just lying to your face while being immediately debunked in the face of the overwhelming, pile, so to speak, of video evidence, as you saw yourself at the start of this video, and now the whole world saw them, is the fact that actually all of them, from Iron Dome to David Sling to Arrow 2 to Arrow 3, are the products of the Boeing and Raytheon. These are American systems with some input, well, whatever the adaptations they were doing there by Israeli Rafael systems, but we saw the ultimate failure of all those things yesterday. Here is the Wall Street Journal again explaining that, oh, Israel operates impressive air defense systems that have been heavy action over the past year. No, they have not been. The only thing which is constantly in operation is against, this is the Iron Dome, which is designed to hit something which is flying under the Mach 2.5, or if not Mach 2, and these are primarily easy, cottage industry Katyusha rockets made in somewhere, in Gaza and elsewhere. So these are not serious missiles, and most of them won't really, make any difference and do any serious damage. However, what missiles which have been launched at Israel yesterday, let's talk about it in a minute, but look at this. So Israel's successful defense in April against hundreds of Iranian drones and ballistic missiles. Yeah, so what's the big deal about hundreds of the drones, huge by any standard? Well, Tehran launched 170 explosive-laden drones. Ask Russians, they do it every day practically, so you can go, into the history of my video and see how Russians shoot down pretty much all those 170 or if not more explosive-laden drones from Ukraine. So it's, they just the way, because most of those people working in the Wall Street Journal or New York Times or elsewhere, they're just basically Zionists, many of them, and they are pathetic losers because they constantly need to present something which is not really that impressive as some kind of unheard of achievement. But reality, of course, is that obviously, no, it failed miserably, as you saw yourself. And that has, now New York Times ask questions that, oh, wider war in the Middle East from Hamas to Hezbollah and now Iran. The main question now are how much the conflict will escalate and whether the United States will get more directly involved in the defense of Israel. United States is already directly involved. Evidently, United States also deployed the THAAD, terminal high altitude defense of air defense, which evidently failed miserably, and people still do not understand that April attack or response by Iran against Israel was merely to demonstrate that we can touch you. Well, yesterday Iran demonstrated it can break through any kind of the Western air defense systems. And yeah, this is your David Sling, Rafael, Raytheon thing. That's what they have there. And evidently there is also one battery of the THAAD, American battery, which is deployed there. And there were a couple of the destroyers. And guess what? Even those destroyers, they failed miserably to stop 109, they say, so I tend to believe them, missiles. And evidently Nevatim air base, the base, it's both military and air base have been people say completely destroyed. By the looks of it, it was. And the other base, which was also hit, pretty seriously, I don't even know how to pronounce it correctly. So, it was, you could even see it, Tel Nov, I believe that's how it's called. There were also secondary explosions, detonations. So, yeah, it was a real kind of, how to say it, lesson by Iran, and that also silenced all those, panic-stricken people who said that the new president of Iran was merely a shill. Well, he was not, and he is not. And evidently everything was tied to visit of Mikhail Mishustin, which concluded, and the next day Iran attacked. So, what is important here? Well, if New York gives us the location of their U.S. forces and which are deployed in the Middle East. As you can see yourself, they are all over the place. In Jordan, well, they don't show them in Israel, but yeah, there are some batteries. So all kinds of places, where they are deployed, so to speak, or U.S. naval deployment, and you see yourself. And what matters here is this. All those air defense systems, which have been completely humiliated yesterday by Iran, because I mean, you could see they could really, launch one or two, and some intercepts have been made. Obviously, not everything broke through, but as people say, they're probably about different. Estimates about 80 to 75% broke through and hit the targets. So if you take a look at this, and the map which is in front of you, here is what really matters. It was in 2020. Suddenly they talk about that missile defense madness, myth of perfect patriots, magic THAAD, and the ICBM shield. And essentially this article by, well, people who are not really necessarily specialists in anything, but yeah, they promptly and properly noted that actually most of it is just myth, as most, American military power has, and the Western and NATO military power have been exposed to be a myth. And Iran proved it completely. And here is the issue. When you look at the map of the American forces in the Middle East, it immediately reflects on what is happening in Ukraine. You say, how much so? Well, let's go and open our good old field manual 3-0, which is, of course, about operations. And you will see yourself, even if you conduct the search on the operations, how those, how to put it politely, those are military platitudes. Most of the operational manuals in the United States contain a lot of platitudes. You need to go there and do this, and that shows you how everything should work. Well, obviously it doesn't work, because United States, and that goes for Israel too, they do not have those physical advantages of which they were basically trumpeting all over for the last 30 years. Because it's not there. These are obsolete forces. They are not designed for the modern warfare, especially if, for example, like Iran used Fatah 2 missile, which contains evidently gliding hypersonic weaponry, hypersonic vehicle. It doesn't matter what you use. The SM-3s, which evidently from the destroyers, Arleigh class destroyers, they failed. Evidently, they didn't stop much. They did some, maybe hit one or two, maybe. But if you are dealing with the maneuverable hypersonic vehicles, forget it. I mean, this whole Western air defense system is just basically obsolete. It's useless, pretty much. And here is the issue. And if you take a look at this field manual, well, what can I say? Look at this. Everything is built around, survivability. They talk about, survivability. To increase survivability, units employ air defense systems, reconnaissance and security operations, modify tempo, take evasive actions, maneuver to gain position advantages, decrease electromagnetic signatures, and disperse forces. Formations improve survivability by complicating targeting and making it more difficult for enemy forces to identify lucrative targets. So they talk about, space-based missile warning systems provide early warning of adversary artillery and missile attacks, allowing friendly forces to seek cover. Well, it didn't help yesterday, didn't it? So, because obviously it is all built around the sporadic 1-2 missile launches across like 500 kilometers of the front. Well, yeah, sure, that might work. Well, it didn't work either, but, well, at least you can say that it could. Against some Scud missile, which is the old, obsolete, and relatively slow missile. What are you gonna do against the maneuvering target, which is launched by the ballistic missile and then turns itself into a Mach 13 vehicle? Maneuvering vehicle. Evidently, Iran has it. Wink, wink. So, why Shoigu goes there? Who knows, So I'm just being facetious, of course. So you cannot stop it, and that's what has been demonstrated. So, but when your field manual is built and written around the second-rate military, about, if not the third-rate military, and the same capabilities, obviously your TOE, table of organization and equipment, is good for, from 1990s. It might still work somewhat. It didn't really, I mean, because United States, for example, lost its wars anyway. But the point is that Israel and United States are basically, they are tied, they are joined at the hip. Basically, United States being their bully, at the Israel service. So, and even when people say that, oh yeah, we need to lower down tensions in the in the Middle East, it means absolutely nothing. United States will do as told, and evidently Israel is now in distress. It can try to strike Iran. Good luck with that. And Iranians are not bluffing. The next salvo will be indeed 500 missiles, and most of them will get through. And here comes this mathematics and why the all this whole thingy about American forces and operations is really, how to put it politely, it's absolutely useless when you fight the people who have capabilities, and those capabilities are better than any air defense which exists in United States. And here we have that staging areas, they need to do something about staging areas for enemy to identify potential target for ballistic missiles and long range fires. And here comes this funny part: United States is outranged dramatically. And you saw yourself there, well, targeting by Iranians pretty good. Russians do it pretty much for the last 2.5 years. And when you look attentively at the missilery and how it was developed in what now they are, complaining that it is, evil, axis of evil, China, Russia, Iran, and things like that. Yeah. This is what you do. You get together, you develop some kind of the coordination, and yeah, Iran is not Iraq. It never was. But how you can explain it to those specialists, especially specialists on Iran? I'm pretty sure the United States vacuumed, sucked in every single dissident who they could possibly, and they of course tell them pretty much the fairy tales, because this is what they want to hear in Washington. They want to hear how beautiful they are and the best, mirror, mirror, and that's what they get. But obviously, reality of the salvos are very serious, and when you have Mr. Semyonov speaking about that, and this is where it all came from, that the Minister of Defense spoke about the ineffectiveness of Patriot system. You can see yourself, just a couple months ago, the American Patriot air defense systems are not capable not only of covering defended objects, but also of protecting themselves. Lieutenant General Andrei Semyonov, commander of the Air Defense and Missile Defense Forces, Deputy Commander-in-Chief of the Aerospace Forces, told reporters, and he is talking about that, all those things are very expensive, make no mistake, but their effectiveness, while not zero, is pathetic. I don't know, 20%? And here is the issue. When you deal with the salvos of the missiles, and I'm giving you a very simplified model. I'm giving you the model of the essentially independent events, which is, for example, each missile. Even if you want to, for example, if you assume that some thought or the heads, the arrow, or what have you, has the intercept probability of intercept of 0.5. I don't think so they do it against the modern ballistic missiles such as Iran uses. In order for you to reach even a 95% probability for at least one missile to hit the object which flies at you, which is of course a ballistic or hypersonic target, which is, well, if it is a really genuine hypersonic maneuverable vehicle, you will not be able to hit it. But for a simple ballistic missile, you will have to have at least 4.3 missiles to at least one of those missiles hit this thing. And this is if the events are not dependent. In reality, all SIAT, which Iran yesterday showed, which is the suppression of the enemy air defense, they are always dependent events, because with each vehicle which breaks through, or each missile which breaks through, you have the reduction of the probabilities of intercept across the whole system. So, but even if you get to more realistic, let's say 0.35, probability of intercept of all those, Israeli and American missiles, well, they are primarily American missiles, to reach even probability of kill of 95%, you will need at least 7 missiles against the standard ballistic, modern ballistic missile. If, as I already stated, you go with the basically framework of the dependent events, which they always are, and that's why, for example, you saw so very few intercepts and reaction of the Israeli air defense yesterday. Well, guess what? You will need pretty much redesign of the whole damn system, including those main, complexes of the air defense, which are evidently and primarily have been made for making a profit. They are not really that effective. And again, we have a record of them being pathetically ineffective. So, and here we are. So they met the 21st century missilery, unlike it was in April, when actually, slow drones, they gave like ample time, for like almost 4 hours for reaction. This was really fast. Bang, 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 and that was it. And you saw yourself, you saw everything you needed to see, including some sporadic, once in a while attempts of the whatever anti-ballistic missile system to intercept something. Maybe Iron Dome was also used just as the last resort. I don't think so. It intercepted much at all. So, and when you look at this, that's why Russians are smiling. Because obviously, what doesn't mean, especially when you look at all those maps and things like that, you understand that United States cannot fight real war. You know why? Very simple, because it doesn't have air defense systems which can defend their forces at the staging areas. They will be torn apart. I mean, and even if they disperse, when you have the salvo, which is 5,000 missiles of that type, you're not gonna live very long. And well, what can I say? So, and that tells you everything, and that's the ramifications. Obviously, I'm not going to be sitting here. I'm not a specialist in the area. I'm not a specialist in the Middle East. I know weapons, let's put it this way, in some other areas of the world, but not this very much. But I can tell you one thing. We can sit here now and, basically play with all possible scenarios and outcomes of this. Israel now is in the actually corner. It has to either respond or to basically, slow down and try to de-escalate. Well, evidently we know now that there are clashes between Hezbollah and Israeli Defense Force in southern Lebanon, and actually, as they say, Hezbollah, they already burned 3 Merkava tanks, and they killed a number, of the soldiers of the IDF. So this is not fun. This is not fighting the primarily, defenseless civilians in Gaza. This is completely different paradigm. And the fact that they killed some of the leaders of Hezbollah doesn't change that much. Fact is, what can I say? It's like, you're not gonna defeat the movement. So now, and that brings us why Russians pretty much looking at it, and they kind of, smile, if you wish. And here is why they are smiling. Well, to start with, of course, it's a grim statistics. It's today's statistics of the Ukraine losses. As you can see yourself, consistently above 2,000 every day, every single day. This is yesterday, actually. So now we have the situation with the as our good friend Marat Khairulin shows us, this is the Selidova area, and as you can see yourself, also Kurakhova. Those, more larger red arrows. And So now we have these pathetic people from BBC, and specifically that even they, the BBC, cannot deny this anymore. They are, Russians claim his city, and of course of Ugledar, and people yesterday started to correct me. Oh, it didn't fall, it just was liberated. Well, I have news for you guys. Fortresses fall, they're not getting liberated. And Ugledar was turned into the fortress for the last 8 years. And yeah, it is over now, so the road out of Ugledar is completely seated with the bodies of the armed forces of Ukraine, and it's horrible. Make no mistake, I have no kick, I'm not getting kick out of it reporting it. I understand it's war, it's horrible thing, but when you put those things together, and including the situation which essentially I am on the record for many years, United States lost the arms race. In air defense field, it's not even serious contender for Russia, for example, and it's no American system has touched even the capabilities of S-400. Okay, so it just to give you example. So, but well, guess what? Because of that, today, Russian Foreign Ministry tells, and it's just continuation of the thing which is exposing of the basically paper tigerism, if you wish, of the combined West, including Israel, is that, negotiation with the United States on nuclear arms control issues now would be meaningless and counterproductive. And in the future, Moscow sees no point of strategic dialogue with Washington if comprehensive work is not carried out to reduce the overall level of conflict in relations, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said. Washington does not show readiness for a comprehensive dialogue on all significant factors of strategic stability, and this is what the Russian side insists on and insists consistently. Again, with people like Blinken or Sullivan, what do you expect? Those are people are ignoramuses, they are incompetents. You have this, basically, as I already stated, garbage which is being produced by the U.S. higher education, from Georgetown to Yale to Princeton to Harvard, in the humanities and so-called international relations. It's garbage. They are uneducated people, brainwashed, mostly, So, and when you have also lawyers trying to navigate some kind of the strategic reality, which is completely based on the power balance, and it is technology and industry, what do you expect? They have no clue what they're talking about. They have been brainwashed with this financial legerdemain BS, and now they think that because you declare yourself somebody, you become so. No, you are not. I mean, it's like American GDP. It's the way it's calculated is complete crap. I mean, it's just absolutely, just basically blowing smoke up everybody's ass and thinking that, oh yeah, that's the real deal. No, it's not. And how can I say? We can see it, unraveling of the whole thing, or the mythology on which the whole dominance or self-proclaimed hegemony was built. It was, Wizard of Oz, smoke and mirrors. The rest is, the reality is much sadder, much grimmer, and it is much smaller in every single respect, be it that economic, military, diplomatic, what have you. So, and because of that, we have this guy. He is a terrifying guy, believe me. Many people in the United States, in the political top, they don't like him. Well, because he was the Minister of the Energy, and now he is Deputy Prime Minister. And so his name, of course, is Alexander Novak. And Russia could shut off the flow of strategically important resources to countries it deems unfriendly, according to Mr. Novak. Wow! And guess what? The ban could include a large list of products that are in high demand on global markets, Novak told reporters, and it was 2 days ago. And he's talking about that. According to the Deputy Prime Minister, the Russian government is analyzing the feasibility of the restrictions to ensure domestic industries would not be hit by limiting the supply and will continue to develop. There is a specific analysis of the situation of world markets and Russia's opportunities. Relevant proposals will be prepared in the near future. For some people in the West, that is a very, very bad news, including the United States. Be that from the nuclear fuel or basically the materials for the nuclear fuel. or, titanium, aluminum, and things of this nature. And this is just, Russia can basically close off pretty much everything it considers and deems necessary. I think so. We are looking also at the Europe, which is done. Russians are not going to be helping Europe anymore. Europeans will have to, basically crawl back on all fours to Russia to beg for something. Other than that, and even then, Russia will not necessarily decide what to do. And to explain to you that there's something afoot here, well, look at this. The sausage Scholz. So it's actually reported not by RT, from where I lifted the news. It is from the Die. And as you can see yourself, it was yesterday. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz wants to speak by phone with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Die Zeit newspaper has reported, citing government sources. Scholz has been endorsing diplomatic efforts to end the Ukraine conflict, including inviting Moscow to a peace summit. No, he was not. The guy is a complete shill for the United States, and what has to be understood, although Peskov already, Mr. Peskov, spokesperson for Kremlin, stated that there was no indication that at least Germany didn't indicate that they want, or Scholz wants to talk, but I don't think so Russia should. There's nobody to talk to, the same as it is with the United States. It's absolutely meaningless. And the only reason Scholz now is in fear of, because he and his administration, with his imbeciles he has around himself, be that Mr. Habik, let alone Annalena Baerbock, and other people like that, well, what do you expect? Germany, it was Germany's choice. And you know what? And Mr. Scholz can desire whatever he wants. Russians will never forgive Germany anymore Leopard tanks in Russian territory. Simple as that. Those things are over. And if Germany goes down, in flames, well, so be it. Well, it is going down in flames. Industrially, it will get much worse than that. But what can I say? And in this case, I don't think Russia should talk to Germany at all. I mean, talk about what? So there you go. The same as Zakharova stated about there is no talk with the United States about strategic stability, because in fact is, why would Russia negotiate its overwhelming advantage and escalation dominance in the field of the strategic weapons and even, tactical operational weapons? The United States has nothing to offer. To offer what? That's the problem. TOE of the 1990s. Industry, which is stuck who knows where. And this is my talk to you guys today. As you can see yourself, it was kind of unexpected, or maybe it was expected. This is our current life today, in a crazy. So in this case, guys, what can I say? As always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford, please support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee on too. All right. Well, guys, have the nice rest of the week. I hope so. It will be calmer, or maybe not. We don't know. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.